A rich Native heritage guided James Bartleman on his life's journey. He's held the highest foreign service rank of any Canadian Aboriginal person, and his never-ending crusade to raise the level of education in the First Nations community continues to this day. Since 2007, this proud Chippewa descendant has been the Chancellor of the Ontario College of Art and Design. To young Natives and non-Natives, James Bartleman is a beacon of hope and inspiration, an example of success through hard work and determination.
In the province working for Forbes Brothers based in Edmonton. They were working for Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro, who hired the company to install a new transmission line. Forbes Brothers has confirmed with me today that one worker was from Ontario and one from Saskatchewan. Now, a lot of people are seeking answers about what happened here. One of them is Don Murphy. He's the business manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1620. Now, the IBEW had held discussions with Forbes Brothers about representing the workers on this job, but they were not successful in unionizing the power transmission job. Murphy says, though, that's not what's important here.
That's secondary. You're talking about people's lives. You're talking about safety. To me, that's secondary. Yes, absolutely. I would have loved to have them under the IBEW banner. I would love to have those workers working and not being afraid to speak up if there are safety issues. Every worker deserves to be able to work safe and go home safe. The situation that we're in now, there's two people, unfortunately, that are deceased.
Now, we don't know yet if this was a safety issue, but Murphy says non-unionized workers are unlike union shops. They're often reluctant to complain about conditions, including safety. Now, Perry Trimper is the province's minister responsible for occupational health and safety. He says departmental investigators have been on the scene since the deaths occurred yesterday. And he's
need to get to the bottom of what happened here. And the investigation earlier this year, that is also still under investigation. So we want to understand what was the cause and get to the bottom of that.
This is now the second fatal accident on a transmission line in Newfoundland this year. In January, a man died on the west coast of the island on the Maritime Link project. Now, Forbes Brothers was the contractor on two transmission towers that fell in Manitoba this year in the winter. Work on the Newfoundland project is suspended. The investigation is ongoing, as I mentioned. Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro isn't releasing any details about the deaths. In a statement, it said it is cooperating with the investigation to better understand how this accident happened. And I'm sure many working in the province's construction trades are eager for answers, too, about how two men came to this province for work and ended up being killed on the job. Chris O'Neill-Yates, CBC News, St. John's.
The group that does safety training for construction workers in the province spoke today. The Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Safety Association says all construction companies have to follow health and safety rules. But the key, they say, is following through on the safety plans that the companies and workers originally came up with.
For any construction site and most workplaces, if we look at the requirements of the Safety Act and regulations, there's pre-planning involved in terms of conducting a hazard assessment to identify what hazards are expected to be encountered, and then what can we do as employers or workers to mitigate those hazards. Training is part of those controls and many other things. Regular inspections need to be conducted to make sure that the controls that we put in place are working.
Transmission tower collapses are not just happening in this province. A CBC investigation out of Manitoba today revealed that 5 towers collapsed in the space of 4 months there. CBC's Katie Nicholson joins us now from Winnipeg with more. Katie?
Yes, I can tell you in this province, Manitoba, 626 transmission towers are being inspected and even x-rayed to make sure that they are structurally safe. This after 5 towers collapsed between February and May, just after they were erected. Now, no one was injured, but the IBEW, the union representing electrical workers, tells us at least one tradesperson quit the profession after having far too close a call when this tower toppled in February way up in northern Manitoba.
We're talking about not hundreds, but thousands of pounds of steel coming down in a large footprint area. And if you're in that area, you don't know which way that tower is going to collapse. It's going to buckle, it's going to fold. There's various ways, so there's just, you don't want to be in that zone if it's coming down.
So Katie, does anyone have any idea why so many towers have collapsed in such a short period?
Yeah, we've spoken to a number of experts about this. They say it's exceedingly rare to see one collapse, never mind 5 in 4 months. In 2 cases, we know guy wires weren't properly installed. In another case, assembly problems were cited. Another toppled when it came off its pin at the base of a foundation and crashed into a crane. But if you ask Manitoba Hydro, it says all 5 collapses come down to human error.
Stuff should not be happening. We should not be having this conversation. We don't like talking about it. We're going to fix it.
Well, yesterday's fatal tower crash here involved a subcontractor called Forbes Brothers. And I understand, Katie, they were involved in some of the towers that collapsed in Manitoba?
Well, that's right. Forbes Brothers erected 2 of the towers that collapsed here. In fact, we got a copy of one of their investigation reports after a tower fell, and it pointed to concerns with faulty materials. So we put that to Hydro here, and it disagreed with that assessment, again saying this was all about human error. But certainly a good question to ask where you are, and I'm sure that you are. Were there problems with the materials being used to build transmission towers in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Thanks so much for this, Katie. That is CBC's Katie Nicholson in Winnipeg. In other news now, a general surgeon is suing Western Health, arguing he was forced by physicians and top officials at the health authority to suspend his practice. But Western Health denies any wrongdoing and says it has heard significant concerns about Dr. Milo Kathir's work. Here now's Mark Quinn reports.
Here at Supreme Court in St. John's, Dr. Milo Kathir says Western Health treated him unfairly. He says leaders at the health authority tried to push him out of work and then failed to help him when a group of doctors refused to work with him. Kathir says his troubles began in 2015 when the health authority started giving his operating room time to other surgeons. In court documents, Kathir says when he complained about it, the chief of surgery at Western Memorial Hospital suggested he should resign. Kathir says he was told that if he did, it would make allegations against him go away. Tension came to a head in February of 2015 when all of the anaesthetists in Corner Brook refused to continue working with Kathir. In a letter to the health authority, 7 of them wrote they had taken the decision to withdraw anesthesiology services from Dr. Kathir. Later, those physicians gave Western Health 2 lists of patients supporting their decision, saying treatment of the patients listed on them was improper. But Kathir says Western Health shouldn't have accepted the doctor's decision to withdraw services. He's suing Western Health for damage to his reputation and loss of income. In court documents, Western Health says it's done nothing wrong. It says it has heard serious concerns about Dr. Kathir's work, and the process of dealing with those complaints is ongoing. The College of Physicians and Surgeons of Newfoundland and Labrador says Dr. Kathir has been licensed to practice in Newfoundland and Labrador for more than 25 years. But since last year, he hasn't held a license to perform surgery or any medical procedure in this province. The college won't say exactly why. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, this story first came to the attention of CBC Investigates when Byrne Coffey resigned as provincial clerk of the Executive Council. Coffey is representing Kathir, and this was one of 2 cases cited where Coffey may have been in a conflict of interest as the province's top civil servant.
The Canadian Cancer Society released its annual publication today, and it's bleak news. The CBC's Reagan Burden has the details.
Cancer does not discriminate. And today's numbers back that up. 1 in 2 Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer. In this province, there will be almost 4,000 cancer diagnoses this year, 2,000 in males and 1,900 in females.
On my feet.
A decade ago, Susan Penny was one of those statistics.
10 years surviving right now, which is great, because the surgeon had told me after my first surgery that I wasn't sure I could have 6 months, I may have 2 years. That's quite a shock to hear when you're 35 years of age.
Penny is daunted by the numbers, but is now working to help others beat the odds.
To think about 1 in 2 people diagnosed with cancer and going through what I went through, it is heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. And I have 2 children, so 1 in 2. I just don't, those numbers.
But there are actions you can take to reduce the risk of getting cancer.
Getting the word about a healthy lifestyle. Let's be honest, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, for the most part, do not live highest rates of smoking, obesity, alcohol, you name it. It's not something to be proud of. We have to make these changes.
While everyone makes their own individual lifestyle choices, the Cancer Society in the province say they're taking action to help people make the healthier choice. Reagan Burden, CBC News, St. John's.
Rescuers were called to a hiking trail last night to rescue a woman who reported a medical emergency. A Cormorant helicopter flew to the Cape Nettic area of the southern shore around 11 o'clock. The woman was taken to hospital after being airlifted out of the area. There's no word on the nature of the emergency.
Parents braced for a big decision today for Whitburn Elementary. The school is scheduled to close permanently at the end of this week. Supporters were in attendance at today's school board meeting, hoping the decision would be reversed. But as Here and Now's Allison Sampson reports, a lot of people left confused.
It's been a long fight for the supporters of Whitburn Elementary School. They've been wondering when their doors are going to close for the last time since 2012. The 83 students will amalgamate with Woodland Elementary. That means up to an hour drive for children from Markland. Whitburn Elementary School supporters left today's meeting scratching their heads. They were expecting the discussion on closing the school to be rescinded.
Prior to a vote on the motion?
No. What I'm asking is, if there was a motion to rescind passed today, the stages that you are currently referring to is what would be necessary following that motion to rescind.
Instead, they spent an hour and a half translating legalese and crackling Skype calls. It ended with a motion to adjourn until another meeting takes place.
This is totally a big surprise to us because when we drove to Corner Brook back in the first part of June, we understood that this was going to be a meeting where we could put the motion forward to rescind Whitburn. We didn't realize we were going to get bogged down in legal tactics. And from what I'm hearing, and from what I'm hearing from the lawyer here, I don't think they really know what's going on.
The meeting today was for the newly elected Board of Trustees to discuss what will happen when the schools amalgamate. Whitburn Elementary School is still on the chopping block, pending a Court of Appeals decision. Allison Sampson, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the annual Oil and Gas Conference opened today in St. John's with nearly 900 delegates, a much bigger crowd than last year. And one man walked around with a little more spring in his step than others. Jeff Parker, the engineer who successfully led construction of the massive Hebron project. Here now's Terry Roberts with this look at the soft-spoken Australian.
Typically, we've seen Jeff Parker with a hard hat and safety glasses giving the media a tour of the Hebron project in Bull Arm. Well, now he's ready to cut the cord. Construction is over and his role is done. After 6 years in St. John's, Parker's days in Newfoundland are numbered. He's handing over Hebron to the operations team, and he admits it's bittersweet.
It's a bit like when your child graduates or when your child gets married. You feel a little bit sad that they're moving on without you, but you also feel very satisfied, and if you've planted the right values in them, that they'll be fine.
Hebron was set down on the seabed 6 days ago. Fleets of helicopters filled with workers heading to the platform ever since, with the goal of first oil by year's end. Parker sounds like a proud dad.
We've created a fantastic, high-quality platform that we're really confident is going to operate reliably and safely out there on the Grand Banks. And so, feeling pretty good about the baby graduating.
There was plenty of handshaking, backslapping, and praise for Parker and his team.
Jeff Parker and his Exxon team and the major contracts have built an engineering marvel, and they've coordinated thousands of Newfoundlanders to do it. And not only have they built an engineering marvel in the harshest conditions in the world, they have done it safely.
So what would it take for another Hebron-like project to get the green light?
And we do that by creating predictable regulations, by creating a predictable fiscal regime so people can make business decisions that are going to hold up.
That's something the provincial government is promising.
We are dedicated to creating an environment of success for this province and for you, our industry partners.
Parker likes what he's hearing, but admits there are no guarantees when it comes to the volatile oil industry. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Up next, we look at concerns in Natuashish about drug dealers and bootleggers who are ignoring the ban on alcohol.
Tonight on Here and Now, I'll tell you why all that construction in Grossmoor National Park, well, it could be helping the fish population. I'll explain.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, the sound of that music means the weather, but before we get there with Carolyn, we want to tell you about a project that's making a lot of people chuckle. A Newfoundlander who visited his native Philippines decided to give the locals a crash course in our phrases.
Yes, Richie Perez has lived in St. John's for more than 3 decades, but when he visited his mother's hometown of Dumalag, he decided to break out his camera and see how people there would or could pronounce some Newfoundland slang. And here is the result.
Here in Philippines, we speak Newfoundlandese.
Wadiek. Do you want some taken up? You're some crooked. Oh, me nerves, you got me drone. Punit ya. I just guys at I'll drop over around by and by. Oh, me nerves, you got me drone. Yes, bye. No, bye. What ad?
I know you're not stunned.
Oh, me nerves, you got me drone. How's she going? Oh, she's again,
Okay, no.
How's she got me?
Stunned. Oh, me nerves.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yes, bye.
That's
No,
good.
bye. Oh, that was amazing.
You gotta love their faces too.
Yeah.
It's great.
They're
great,
into that. Was
funny.
really cute. That was
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. And things are looking pretty good.
As hot as the Philippines?
No, not quite. But you know what? In Newfoundland, the hottest spot in Canada today.
Woo!
So far today. So let's have a look at that. Hottest spot in Canada today is, ta-da, Badger at 31.3. That's so far today. I've been hitting refresh to see if that's going to change. But yes, Badger is the hot spot in Canada with a humidex of 37. So these are some of the highs today. You can see quite a variety of temperatures in the province today. 25 in St. John's was the high. There's at 31 in Badger. But if you look up along the Labrador coast there, Nain just got up to 2 degrees today. So quite a variety of temperatures. So this is some of the weather that is on the way. If you're in the east, it is pretty windy. A lot of the ladies were walking around like this today with the wind. So there is some more of that wind coming tomorrow. So you're going to want to hang on to your skirts. Tomorrow, it's going to be once again muggy in central and for northeastern parts of the island. And some thunder showers coming for parts of Labrador tonight, and possibly some pretty strong winds in some places. Get to that in a moment. So there is still this weather statement in effect from Environment Canada because of the high humidity in parts of central and northeastern Newfoundland. So just thought I'd show you that because it is still in effect at the moment. And there's still this fog advisory along the south coast there. So visibility when that fog rolls in is near zero. So that could be sticking around for another couple of days. So looking ahead to tonight, we have lots of showers moving across Labrador. Thunder showers in Lab City, Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Churchill Falls is going to see some thunder showers and possibly some very high gusty winds up to 70 tonight. So that's something to watch for as well. Some showers moving across the island as well this evening into tomorrow. So this is the temperatures for tonight. Our lows in St. John's, 15. That's some of the showers that we could see tonight. Showers right along the coast there, but going to stay nice and clear in central, 17 as the low tonight, and cooler in Labrador, 2 degrees in Nain with some showers right across the board and thunder showers for Lab City straight over to Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Churchill Falls. So looking ahead to tomorrow morning, still some more showers in Labrador. It's going to clear off, though, on the island. It's going to start off fairly showery for parts of the island, but hopefully that will clear off during the day. So in St. John specifically, we're going to start the day with 16 degrees and possibly some showers or drizzle in the morning. See those winds, those southwesterlies gusting up to 70. So it's going to be very much like it was today in terms of wind. That wind will continue throughout the day, get up to about 20 degrees and 18 as we move into the evening hours. So you can see the temperature difference tomorrow along the southern part of the Avalon, just 11 degrees in Placentia. That's all that fog is keeping temperatures very, very cool there in central. Another beautiful day coming, 27 degrees for most areas there with a mix of sun and cloud, possibly some showers along the Bayvert Peninsula there. And Newfoundland. Some showers as well in parts of the west coast in the morning, and some foggy weather in Port aux Basques tomorrow with a high of 15. Temperatures a little bit cooler as we move up the northern peninsula. Cartwright in particular, just a high of 6 degrees tomorrow with some showers. Lots and lots of showers across Labrador, continuing all day tomorrow, really. Cool temperatures along the coast, a little bit warmer in Lab City as the high there. So we have lots more showers coming for pretty much everyone for this week. I'll get into that a little bit later. Debbie?
Thanks, Carolyn. The community of Natuashish is reeling after being hit by 2 suicides last month. People there believe drugs and alcohol are creating hopelessness in the dry community. In 2008, an alcohol ban was voted in. That decision was upheld until 2010. But still, drug dealers and bootleggers are finding ways around the ban. And people say part of the blame lies with the RCMP. Here now's Jacob Barker has more.
Here in her tent on the shore of Shango Bay, surrounded by family, is where Mary Jane Edmonds feels most at home.
Very few secrets happening in the tent because we're all sharing. CBC.
This is where Edmonds puts the problem she sees in her community out in the open.
A lot of the youth, are abusing drugs and alcohol. It's readily available for one thing, and it covers your pain and suffering and hurt. And a lot of our youth, are suffering from those things.
Here in Natuashish, the people who are doing and selling the drugs could be part of your family.
They could be, our cousin, our uncle, our aunt, our brother, our sister, or our daughters, our sons,
And Edmonds says if you try to intervene, watch out for retribution.
As we know for a fact that when we try to deal with it, their property gets attacked. Somebody gets their tires slashed or their windows broken.
She wants them out.
So they don't keep bringing in the stuff. They don't keep selling the stuff that's hurting our children.
Some recent developments in the community are not helping matters. Chief John Newey recently told the CBC RCMP had scaled back drug and alcohol searches at the airport.
Ever since the RCMP stopped enforcing it, everything was free-flowing in by people from Shishiji, Goose Bay, and people from here flying in, flying out and flying in. That's how it gets in.
Bottles of alcohol sell for up to $300 for a 750 milliliter bottle. Drugs, mainly marijuana and cocaine, we're told, are also easy to find.
The drug use has more or less increased. Alcohol use has increased. There may not be any criminal charges, but in my observation, it has increased on both levels.
RCMP say they have conducted searches that have resulted in the seizure of drugs and alcohol recently, but on our arrival, we didn't see any such searches happening. People in the community tell us that there haven't been any searches in quite some time. RCMP would not definitively answer the CBC's questions about why the airport searches appear to have dropped off about 6 months ago. For Mary Jane, this is the answer. People need to come out of their houses, back to settings like these, to heal.
You can be clean and sober and enjoy being out on the land rather than, trying to find artificial fun in the community. When I say artificial, I mean abusing drugs and alcohol. He says out on the land it's different because that's where a person really looks after himself or herself, and it's easy out on the land rather than here, and that's where parents also look after their children.
Do you like staying in the tent?
Yeah,
How come?
because it smells so good, and I love it when I'm with my grandmothers.
Edmonds plans to spend many nights with her family here, in a place they feel right at home, and where everything is out in the open. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Natuashish.
Got to agree with them. There's nowhere to hide and there's nowhere to go when you're all in close quarters like that in a tent there.
And it seems like a simple solution, but the problems are very troubling. Tomorrow night, another story from Natuashish. This time, Jacob Barker looks at what life is like for young people there. And I'm going to have a feature interview with the Grand Chief of the Innu Nation, Anastasia Cupie.
In Italy.
Up next, a story that hits close to home for me. My grandfather's brother asked in his will that his World War II medals be hung somewhere so people won't forget about the Second World War. Now that wish is about to happen. The details in about 3 minutes. A Second World War veteran from St. John's will soon have his medals on display at the Royal Newfoundland Regiment Museum. Cam Eaton passed away in 1994, and one of his last wishes was to see his medals on display as a reminder of what many Newfoundlanders went through during World War II. Now, among those medals is the Military Cross. Now, Eaton was one of about 3,700 Canadians to ever earn one. Full disclosure, Cam Eaton is my grandfather Doug's older brother. Today, I learned a lot more about that part of my family's history.
Very, very few stories. I heard more from Dad about the war when his voice was lubricated a little bit with a little bit of scotch. And the time that I heard a couple of stories from him was down the Gander River fishing. And we'd be on the side of the river and having a beer, and every now and then you could get him to tell the story. And one story I recall happened at casino, and he was up forward of the lines, observing the artillery bombarding the Abbey at casino. A shell landed about 20 feet away from him, bounced, and landed right on his backside, and didn't explode, obviously, or we wouldn't be here. But he told me he lay there for 2 hours before he had enough nerve to reach around and see if he still had a backside. He was, and that was one of the very few stories I ever heard from him. It happened in Italy. Their first action, I think, in Italy, once they had landed, they were moving up the east coast of Italy, near a little town called Furci. And actually, as it happened 13 years ago, I was there, and I'm pretty sure I found the spot where he was. And he and Harold Lake were right up in the front lines, spotting for the artillery, and the Germans counterattacked. And Dad stayed there and kept calling in fire closer and closer to himself. Eventually, he was only 50 yards away from where he was. He sent Harold Lake back and stayed there, and they managed to stop the counterattack. And my understanding is that's why he was awarded the Military Cross.
The thing that amazes me is that they came back pretty much unscathed, at least physically, because really when they were in North Africa and when they were in Italy, there was many a time where they were being shelled and mortared, and they were in the midst of it because they were the observation party. I just can't even imagine it. Dad always commented on how well trained they were, so that when they got into battle, everyone knew their job, and they just went ahead and did it. But pretty brave. I think you had to be young. Dad's oldest sister, our aunt Helen, told me one time, and it was about when Dad signed up and came home to tell everyone. I'm sure my grandfather would have been really quite proud of him, but all at the same time devastated, because he had seen huge battle with the Royal Newfoundland Regiment during the First World War. And it was a household of 7 children, not probably a large house, and the only place to escape for my grandparents was the bathroom. And Helen remembers the door was a little ajar, and she saw our grandfather crying on our grandmother's shoulder. He was that devastated. And so that's really stayed with me, that story, over the years. And now the 2 sets of medals sort of side by side in the museum. Very lucky, both of them, to have come home and married and had families afterwards. It's quite a story.
He was immensely proud of what his father did in the First World War, and I think very pleased with the way he performed, but I would never say proud, because that wasn't him. But I think gives me a great deal of satisfaction to see that finally all this stuff will fall in place, and grandfather's medals and dad's medals will be there together, sort of an Eaton family story, which is really unique, and I hope we never see another generation.
Amen to that. I love listening to those stories. How did you feel?
Well, I'd never heard a bunch of those stories before. Obviously, I knew about Cam going to World War II, and I knew about my Uncle Bill fought in World War II. My grandfather Doug fought in World War II, but I'd never heard any of those stories. So the Military Cross will be on display tomorrow at 10 o'clock. There will be a little thing, and they're going to hang it next to my great-grandfather, one of the first 500. He has some medals on display, so it was a great day.
That's great. Thanks for bringing us
problem.
that story. Up next, the tale of 2 splash pads. Why is this one in Paradise open on likely one of the hotter days of the year, while this one in St. John's is not? The explanation after the break.
Welcome back to Here and Now. No one likes being stuck in a summer construction zone on the highway, but if it happens to you in Gross Mourne this summer, yeah, it'll be a pain. But one worthwhile, Parks Canada hopes. The end result is not only to help drivers get to where they need to go, but it will also help fish get to where they need to go. Here and Now's Colleen Connors explains.
These little fish don't have a chance. This is an older culvert near Berry Hill Campground in Gross Mourne, and the fish can't jump high enough to get through. For the few who do make it, they are just not strong enough to go to the other side.
That's right. Fish are no different than us. They can only sprint for so long, and then they get tired. And if you're on a treadmill and you're sprinting as fast as you can and you run out of energy, the treadmill throws you off the other end. That's what happens to our little fish.
And they never make it to the other side until now. A $45 million construction project in the park is replacing 86 old culverts along the main highway, many that connect to fish-bearing streams. The culverts are now fish-friendly.
And so the fish arrive and they're swimming at a level surface, and as they swim through, the water's not flowing very quickly. They have little places they can stop and rest, and it's a very natural bottom, so they can sprint a little way, rest, sprint, and rest.
The new culvert's natural-looking bottom mimics a river, and the salmon, trout, and eels now have a much better chance of making it to the bigger rivers and waterways.
Oh, well, this is wonderful. It's something that we've identified for many years, but it's very expensive to replace a culvert like this because you do have to tear up the existing road. So we have an opportunity now with ongoing infrastructure programming. The road is being repaved. It's a perfect opportunity for us to fix these things.
Parks Canada will track the fish's progress and monitor if the populations of brook trout and salmon increase within the park's borders. Many of those new culverts were replaced last summer during construction season. And this season, it's all about paving this long stretch of road. So if you're in traffic, stuck because of construction this season, trying to get to that campsite, just remember, it may be helping the fish population. Colleen Connors, CBC News, on Route 430 in Gross Mourne National Park.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
So Carolyn, the hot sun's out, guns out, as the kids say. It usually, it was sunny on the Avalon.
It brings the kid out in many people.
Can't believe I got away with that. Especially,
you didn't.
Yeah, that's right, I didn't. Yeah. Especially when it comes to like parks and splash pads.
Yes.
But depending on where you live, you could be enjoying the cold rush of a splash pad or not. Just take a look at this.
This is in Paradise over the noon hour. Kids and adults both enjoying the splash pad on what may just turn out to be one of the hotter days of the year. But have a look at what's happening just down the road at Bartleman Park splash pad.
Oh, very, very different situation.
Doesn't seem to be a drop of water there.
No, we do have an explanation for that. The splash pad in Bartleman Park, which we know is also extremely popular, doesn't open for the summer season until Wednesday, July 2nd, another 12 days. The city tells us that right now crews are busy preparing splash pads in Bartleman and Barring Park for the opening. And as I said, that should happen on July 2nd. So,
well, let's hope let's just hope there's still some sun so the kids can enjoy them.
Well, there could be a few showers on the way, but yeah, tomorrow is looking pretty good. Let's have a look at how things are shaping up at the moment. So if you're, certainly if you're in Central, if there's a splash pad around there, you'll want to head there right now. It's still 28 degrees in Badger, the hot spot today in all of Canada, and still looking quite warm on the island, except for along the south coast here where you have those cooler temperatures because of that fog that's been hanging around, and cool along the coast there right now in Labrador as well. So I just wanted to quickly show you this again because Environment Canada does have this special weather statement still in effect. So very high humidity in these places here on the central and the northeast coast. So be mindful of that if you're heading out. Drink lots of water. Don't keep your pets in the vehicle, all that kind of stuff. So we also have this fog advisory near zero visibility. When the fog rolls in, it's going to be sticking around probably for for a couple of more days. So this is a recap of temperatures tomorrow. We're going to see some high winds again in the east, gusting up to 70, going to be very similar to today. Temperatures just going up to 20 degrees, possibility of some showers in the morning. Gorgeous day coming for Central once again, 27 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud, possibility of showers on the west coast. And cooler along the coast, Nain just 4 as the high tomorrow. Lab City with some showers there and 16 as the high. Looking ahead for Wednesday evening into Thursday, we see more showers coming across Labrador and showers here on the Avalon and on the west coast of the island. So it looks like pretty much everyone is going to get a taste of the showers on Thursday. So temperatures still very warm on the island. We're looking at 23 as the high in the east with a chance of showers or drizzle. 22 in Central, 19 on the west coast, but cooler in Labrador, just looking at a high of 15 degrees in western Labrador and 10 in eastern Labrador on Thursday afternoon with some showers. But things are looking nice on Friday, at least if you're on the island. You see some showers that are going through, but that should clear off for the island. Going to continue though in Labrador. You're just getting waves and waves of these showers coming through, and it's going to continue, unfortunately. So here's a Friday looking great as we head into the weekend. 21 with sun and cloud in the east. In Central and the west, we're looking at 18, 19 degrees. Cooler in Labrador with some showers, 14 in the western part of Labrador there, and just 12 in eastern Labrador. So unfortunately, Friday is going to be great, but as of now, things aren't looking so hot for the weekend. Just 16, 17 degrees in the east. Similar conditions right across the island. Looking later on in the week, I'm not going to panic just yet, but when I saw this today, this 11 degrees on Tuesday, I was not happy, but too early to panic, for sure. And it's going to be cooler as well in Labrador as we continue on through the week. And you can just see those showers are just going to continue on. It's good for the plants, though, and good for the ducks.
Our young athlete of the day is Simon Henderson from St. Lunaire, Brigham. Simon is 4 years old, plays novice 1 hockey at the Polar Centre in St. Anthony.
He also enjoys swimming and soccer during the summer months.
Congratulations, Simon. You are our young athlete of the day.
Up next, Muskrat Falls demonstrators used an alternative form of protest today. Welcome back to Here and Now. Muskrat Falls demonstrators used an alternative form of protest today. Oh yeah, they posted this video to Facebook. They've been protesting outside the Aboriginal Affairs office in Happy Valley Goose Bay for the past 2 days. They say they're dancing to show the provincial government that their spirit is not broken. The group wants better communication with the Premier. A government spokesperson says the Premier met with prominent activist Beatrice Hunter last week, and he held a question and answer session with people in Mud Lake last month.
A Supreme Court justice in St. John's apologized to a woman today as he sentenced her to 2 years in prison. Shannon Butcher smuggled drugs into the penitentiary in St. John's inside a Kinder Surprise capsule. Here Now's Glenn Payette reports.
It's not something you often hear from the bench, a judge saying he's sorry for a sentence he's about to impose. But today, Justice Alphonsus Fowler said sorry to Shannon Butcher as he sentenced her to 2 years and that he would have given her less time. Today, Butcher was on video link from the Women's Correctional Center in Clarenville, and she was caught on video smuggling cocaine, Dilaudid, and marijuana into the penitentiary in March of 2014. The drugs were inside a Kinder Surprise capsule she passed to her boyfriend, Stephen Rumsey. Butcher was convicted on 3 charges of trafficking. There is now a mandatory 2-year minimum sentence for bringing drugs into a prison. Butcher's lawyer, Michael Ralph, filed an application saying the mandatory minimum sentence was cruel and unusual treatment or punishment and violated Butcher's charter rights. Ralph had said this was a single unsophisticated act. But Fowler says the case law on sentencing for bringing drugs into a prison is 12 months to 3 years or more. So he says the now mandatory 2-year minimum is not grossly disproportionate. Fowler said to Butcher, "Sorry the result has to be this way. It's not something I would have done." He didn't say what sentence he would have liked to have given her. He did say, "You got caught up in something here. I hope over the next few months you can put this behind you." Last week, Rumsey was sentenced to 4 months for possession for his role in the Kinder caper and 18 months for a shoplifting spree, including stealing 3 flying squirrels. At Rumsey's sentencing, it was learned that Butcher was paid $200 to bring the drugs into the penitentiary. At this stage, we don't know if Butcher plans to appeal her 2-year sentence. Glenn Payette, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, here's a video from Campbellford, Ontario. Gail Mann stumbled upon a snapping turtle on her front lawn.
And made the snap decision to film it laying eggs. She says there are about 30 in all, and she's taken care to safeguard the nest. She's going to keep tabs on the eggs until they hatch in about 3 months.
Aww. Welcome back once again. Last day of school at McDonald Drive Elementary in St. John's, and the kindergarten class is going out in style. All 100 kids in the class helped make a lip dub video as a special surprise for the moms and dads.
Dreamboat Justin Timberlake's smash hit Can't Stop the Feeling is the tune, and our very own Dreamboat Zach Gowdy helped out with the camera work. Have a look at this cool way to kick off the summer.
He paid.
So just imagine, nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say.
How could you not dance to that song, right? I like their move like this. Anyways, we have a new weather statement to tell you about. I'll get to that in just a moment. But, you know, we saw some sweltering temperatures in parts of our province today. Badger was the hottest spot in Canada. But if you want to see real hot heat, just look to Arizona today. American Airlines actually had to cancel dozens of flights in and out of Phoenix today due to extreme heat. More than 40 flights are affected.
Now, extreme heat can change air density and impede takeoff. So the hotter it is, the faster a plane needs to go to get off the ground.
I didn't know that.
Me neither.
Temperatures around Phoenix were expected to hit 49 degrees today.
Yep, and I learned today that 48 is the limit. So planes can't operate above 48 degrees.
So if anybody complained about the humidity here, you should probably not go to Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. Well, before we leave you, I just want to quickly tell you about this severe thunderstorm watch that's in place for parts of Labrador tonight. So there could be torrential rain, really heavy winds, and possibly some hail. So if you're in this area tonight and you're heading out, just keep that in mind. There is a severe thunderstorm watch in place. And before we leave you, just wanted to show you this serene picture of an iceberg sitting amongst the mist.
Oh, that is a beauty. It's so nice. We're going to leave you with this image and hope you can join us again